Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Easter Island heads.
Oh, yes, those
They have
too.
full bodies. They just found out. They're not just
They're not
heads.
just heads.
They have bodies underneath the ground.
I feel
Like,
so
we're literally
deceived.
living on, like, another civilization because there's, like, even, like, it doesn't even matter where you're at, Europe, wherever. When they have to excavate far down, they find roads, they find buildings, they find arches, doorways, pillars, like, all underneath the earth. Like, the earth just doesn't, things just don't sink.
Yeah.
Something happened, and it seems like it happened all at the same time. Yeah, like, it makes no sense. Exactly. Like, why would you pick a kid to run these, like, massive factories, all these children? Like, I think there was a lack of people, and I think they were using children because I think a lot of the population got wiped out in the supposed mud flood. Have you heard about star forts?
Those are weird.
They're all over the world.
Yeah.
They're like forts,
Perfectly
basically
symmetric
star shapes.
star shapes.
There's one called Fort Jefferson, and it's out off of Florida.
Okay.
And it's a small star fort. I think it's made with like 500 million bricks or something ridiculous. And like, again, people speculate, how in the world did they, A, make all these bricks, get them out there? There's no fresh water on this little island, and yet they're building this fort. When they finally finished it, no one ever used it. Well, welcome back to the podcast. We want to welcome everyone. And before we get into today's topic, we would like to remind everyone to like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification button so you never miss a Tinfoil Tuesday drop. And today we're going to be talking about what?
Mud floods, old world, Tartaria.
I love it.
Excited.
Me too.
This is a newer one for me. I feel like you actually kind of introduced it to me. So, yeah, I've learned a lot about it since we talked about it.
There's so
initially.
much. And the thing is, too, is the more they excavate and dig out some of these old world buildings, the more and more comes out. So it's like an ever-changing, evolving, subject to look into. But yeah, a few years ago, I got into this, and it started with learning about mud fossils. And then it turned into learning about the timelines that were told and given about how our buildings were built don't line up. There's a lot of discrepancies. Things make zero sense. And how it's very plausible that our history, even as close as 200 years ago, has been rewritten. Resets, things like that. Like, it's super interesting and kind of wild because you think, well, how can they hide so much? But then when you really look into it, there's a lot of ways they could have done it. And there's a lot of proof showing that there was bizarre things happening, especially like in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s, bizarre. So we can get into that. But, we'll be going kind of all over the world. But I think with this one, a lot of I like to talk about North America the most because I think our history specifically here is very much
messed
a
up
lie for most of it.
Like Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
And how there were like maps that are older than he is that literally show that America and like even a lot of the cities, Chicago, San Francisco, those names were already there.
I know. So crazy.
Yeah. So tell me, how does that work?
How does that work? I know. And there's old world maps showing entire empires that we never learned about. Like you mentioned in the beginning, Tartaria or Tartaria, however you want to say it. Like there was a massive empire. It took up a Russian area. It was huge.
Right.
And in fact, their flag was a griffin. It's a yellow flag with a black griffin.
Okay.
And then the Imperial Russian flag has, I think it's St. George on a white horse, and he's stabbing a griffin underneath.
Oh.
So they took over. And that's still today.
Okay.
Yeah. So stuff like that, you're like, okay, well, how come we never learned about this in history class in high school? No one ever learned about this. It's like, doesn't exist.
It's just wiped.
Because the Rockefellers took over the education system, and that's what, and it all, like all the timeline like lines up perfectly with when America was founded, when the Freemasons, came out and did their thing, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds took over, the Federal Reserve. It's all like within the same time span. So it really does paint a picture of like, okay, something took over, especially in North America.
Right.
So,
well, and there was a timeline too of just like when the first like telephone supposedly came out, when the first bicycle came out, like when the first camera came out, everything is just like boom, 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 boom. It's like we have nothing. And then all of a sudden we have this like
Industrial
burst
Revolution.
Of, like ingenuity. And it's like, that's interesting.
Very much so.
But again, it's like all of this is just, I don't know, like plumbing and like electricity. They say that like we are at the peak. We're like the most advanced civilization. But yet, like, if you go back and look at like ancient Rome, like they actually had, they had waste management, like they had toilets, they had like water aquifers, they had all of that stuff. And then they found like rocks and things that they've dug up that like somehow will turn a light on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it. And it's like, maybe it was AI, but I feel like probably not.
It's like Antiquitech. That's the term it was given. So like old world technology. And there's so much evidence of that, like you were saying, within buildings, within inventions, things like that. Like, yeah, okay, they say, well, they had no plumbing, but then again, you look at the fountains that they built, magnificent fountains. So they could build,
still running today.
Still running today. So they could build all of that, but they can't have, indoor plumbing or whatever it may be. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't imagine like people like princesses, kings, and queens, like in these magnificent palaces, going to the bathroom behind a door in a bucket. Like, no, there was something. I don't believe that.
Well, and also, like, I think I saw something in some of the really old buildings. They, like, don't have a ton of bathrooms in them.
Right.
Which is kind of odd, too.
That is true. And I do have a theory on that. Okay. And I don't know exactly where I stand with it.
Okay.
But I'll just kind of sprinkle it in. But I don't want to get into this topic too far because it is really such a big one. And it's a triggering one, especially for Christian community, which I understand. But that is the possibility of the millennial reign of Christ of happening, and the glorified bodies and all the saints, they didn't need plumbing because they didn't need to function like a human. I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
But people have, theorized this. I'm like, okay, that could be somewhat of an explanation for why, but then you still would have had humans at that time too. So I don't know, but
yeah,
it is interesting. I don't know.
Or maybe those buildings weren't houses. Maybe they were used for something else.
That's possible.
So who knows? That's like another topic for sure, but
that really
it's a very fascinating one.
It kind of ties into what we're talking about today because we don't have the full picture of what we're looking at when we look at these old buildings. We don't. We all kind of just like, trying to piece these puzzle pieces together and, make sense of it because we know for a fact, like what they're telling us, like the Empire State Building, they said they built it within a year.
They couldn't even finish my house in a year.
No, exactly. And inside and out, completion, from start to completion. All the while, New York has harsh winters. And you're telling me people were still kind of struggling to make ends meet. And you got all these people together and built this thing. Where are you getting all the steel? Like, all this stuff had to get shipped in. You have imports. You have, like, there's no flipping way I'm believing it was built in a year.
Didn't they even admit, too, that, like, the pictures, you remember the iconic picture of the men sitting on the steel beam, hovering,
eating their lunch like it was no big deal.
Like they're way high in the air. Like, didn't they just come out and admit, like, yeah, this was like a Photoshop?
They did admit it finally. And people have been saying it for years.
How long has Photoshop been around?
Photoshop, I think, has been around a long time. Because we can get into that as well. I mean, this one, there's so many things, but like old photos, you could tell they whitewashed the skies on these old photographs. And people speculate, well, yeah, they were probably taking out the airships. So blimps, like airships was a huge means of transportation at the time.
Yeah.
And it was free.
Oh, it was free.
I think it was free.
Oh, okay.
And then they even had, on top of tall buildings, the airships would dock and people would get off on top of these buildings and like get to where they need to go.
That would make sense.
But I think that they, what was it? The Hindenburg, like the whole, oh, we're going to freak everyone out. Like now they're unsafe. This one exploded. I think it was a whole storyline just to end the airship era. And make us go to the Wright brothers and flying like that again is another story that's got a lot of holes in it. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I think they had Photoshop well before.
Well, and also like a lot of the old pictures, the people that are in it, like they're not looking at each other, even though they'll be like standing right next to each other. Like one will be looking like straight and the other one's face is like clear up here. So you would think that if I was going to take a picture and I was looking at you, I'd be like looking in your eyes. I wouldn't be looking like this at you. You know what I mean?
Very weird. And it's not just one photo. There's so many.
And even all the people, they all just seem like weird sizes. Like they're copied and pasted. Like they're doing completely just random things. Like if you actually look at the pictures, it doesn't make sense. If I were, like I've been in New York and I've taken pictures of just random people, and it makes sense. They fit within the picture. They're walking. There's movement. These pictures are literally like
they look staged. They look staged.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. 100%. And, we get into, so let's go back to like the old world buildings. Like what we're saying is we are saying that the U.S. was inhabited long before the Native Americans.
Right.
Columbus came. We all came over from Europe because there were these, I believe, old cities that had been standing here for, I don't even know, centuries.
Right.
Because they all have Greco-Roman architecture as well, which gives me a picture of, okay, if there's Greco-Roman architecture on every single continent, including Australia, that tells me that there was a worldwide empire or there was mass communication between continents around the world where they were told, everyone was separate, no one communicated because there's no form of communication.
Right.
But why are they all building the same style of architecture? That it makes zero sense.
Right.
And why are we finding these buildings on North American soil? And then
the Capitol buildings, for example.
Okay,
right?
we are 2 blocks from our state capitol. Magnificent.
Marble everywhere.
The whole interior is marble. Yeah, the sheer size of it is just amazing. And we're told people that were still in a horse and buggy and chisels and hammers built this in record times.
I heard they did it with antlers.
With antlers. If they didn't have a hammer, they wouldn't got an antler. I mean, and the population of some of these cities were in the 5,000s, and they're building these monstrosities of just perfection. I mean, there's not one flaw in these buildings.
Make it make sense.
It doesn't. Yeah. I'm sorry. Right. The narrative does not make sense.
Well, and also in San Francisco, before kind of the gold rush happened, there were pictures of complete, huge, massive metropolitan cities. They were already there, but just kind of empty. And the population did not correlate to how big the city was.
Exactly.
So it's these buildings were already there. People were just moving into them. So that's the whole mud flood theory too. It's we're excavating these buildings that have been buried sometime during a huge, catastrophic flood.
There seems to be evidence of a global catastrophe.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're building up whole floors. So
digging them
even
up.
right here, because we are in downtown Boise right now. Yes. They're digging up huge parts of these buildings that have been buried. Yeah. And you can walk down the street right now, right outside, and you'll see this again everywhere, where there are windows down at your feet level and the road slants up, cutting them off, and it makes no sense. There's doors down there that lead to nowhere. And if you notice, a lot of these old buildings, and you walk into them, you kind of have to go up a few flights of stairs to get to the level, because I think really we're coming in between the first and second level, so they had to put stairs in to get to that second level.
I think so.
It's very, you see it everywhere.
It makes sense. And I also think that there's a lot of tunnel systems.
Yep.
Even in Nampa, there's restaurants out there that there's tunnels that were connecting, their basements to other buildings. And so I feel that's also part of why the doors lead to nowhere. Those have been blocked off. That's kind of my speculation on it, but...
Yeah, a friend of ours, he had a building downtown Meridian, and they were doing some renovation, and we got to go see this. And right at eye level, so you're standing inside, you're already kind of in the lower basement part of this building. They had busted a hole in the wall, and there's a full-on hallway with a door and everything at the end of it inside, under the ground.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Did they follow it?
No, they didn't climb in. But I'm that's crazy. Kind of stuff. You don't know what's been buried and why. Why is everything buried? What happened? A mud flood is really just when a massive amount of mud really just happens all at once. Right. And one of the ways that can happen is with a massive earthquake. So it's called liquefaction. So liquefaction is when the earth is vibrating so intensely that basically the earth becomes liquid, and then everything would sink.
Okay.
Which makes sense. So, what global catastrophe, though? What happened? Was it an act of God? Was it an act of man? We don't really know. We can only speculate,
Yeah. I mean, so the mud flood theory, I took notes on this. So, it's in the 70s and the 80s, Anton, I don't know how to say his name. We can edit this part.
Wait, which part? What's his name?
His name is Antolini. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
With it.
Yeah. For Menko, he claimed history was misrepresented. Why can't I talk today? Misrepresented. And it was popular. Why can I not talk today? Let's start that.
Can't read and talk at the same time today. It's okay. Okay, so
Okay, in the 70s and the 80s, Anatoly Fomenko claimed history was misrepresented, and this was popularized by the occultist Nikolai Levashov. So he was an occultist, so that kind of makes me pause a little bit too, because anything that's being pushed by someone who's in the occult, it's like they have part truth, but also like massive deception. So there's that. But it's interesting that in the 18th or 19th century, you were talking about a liquid earth. That wasn't that long ago.
I know.
Which makes me think like, okay, well, what if it was a flood and it was a worldwide flood? It would have had to been Noah's Ark like flood, because after the flood, God made the promise of the rainbow, and it was like, I will never flood the entire world again. So it couldn't have been a second global flood based off the promise of God. So if that was the case and Noah's flood happened, you know, it was Noah's flood that caused these mud floods, which I don't know that it is, but it's just like a thought. Like that wouldn't have been as long ago as they told us either.
Mm-hmm. That could be.
Which also would explain why there were no people, because they were repopulating.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, if it was, a mud flood doesn't necessarily mean with water.
Okay.
It just means everything was buried.
Right.
So, like, again, it could have been
a water.
If it was a water, then yes. Then even the Noah's flood could have been sooner than we think, too. Yeah. There's actually a man, he's got an extremely long presentation on this. So if you have the patience, watch it. If not, don't. But basically, in a nutshell, he talks about how, and he breaks it down, there's about 700 years added to our timeline between like 0 AD to 1000 AD.
What does 700 years do though? Like, I guess how many generations?
They erased, well, they basically took, and they also took events that we believe might have happened all at once and spread them out to make it seem like it happened over time. But like the Dark Ages, for example. That's interesting. So you're telling me there was this huge long stint of hundreds of years where there's like no record of anything and nothing happened. But then at the same time, art's coming. I mean, it really, look at the things that they were living in.
Yeah.
The architecture, everything. And seemed like a very advanced civilization thriving. You know, I feel like they always flip everything. It was probably like the light ages, like the age of light, not darkness.
Probably.
You know, but they just erased it.
Well, okay, so you also have like the Black Plague and all of those scary things that were happening. Remember the creepy masks and stuff they made?
Oh, yeah, like the witch doctor masks. Yeah.
It makes me think that those stories are fairy tales.
Could be.
Because everything that they say is true is actually not.
Yeah.
And everything that is true, they're like, it's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
So that makes me think it was probably just a story, a narrative that they pushed. Maybe like 2020, wear your mask.
Well, exactly. Like, how's the sea story going to look in 100 years from now? What's the story they're going to be telling?
Exactly. Well, he who wins a war writes the history.
His story.
History. Exactly. So I think, again, just there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Like even with Tartaria, how the Great Wall of China, they claim to have built that, but like yet the way that it's being defended, like the arrows would actually be going into China, not shooting out from China. So that would, you know, indicate that this wall was not built by China. Why would China attack itself? Why would China have like windows to have archers shoot itself? Like
the wrong way.
The wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That makes me think of star forts. Have you heard about star forts?
Those are weird.
They're all over the world. Yeah. They're like forts,
perfectly
basically
symmetric
star shapes.
Star shapes.
There's one called Fort Jefferson, and it's out off of Florida.
Okay.
And it's a small star fort. I think it's made with like 500 million bricks or something ridiculous. And like, again, people speculate, how in the world did they, make all these bricks, get them out there? There's no fresh water on this little island, and yet they're building this fort. When they finally finished it, no one ever used it. The military never used it.
Weird.
And they say, oh, well, it was to be there for British ships coming in. We wanted to be able to attack them. But it's like, well, first of all, you're on the wrong side of, like, you would be on the East Coast, like, between the U.S. and Britain. You wouldn't be way down by the tip of Florida.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure they could just go around you. Like, you're not that big of a threat. So, like, there's something more to the star forts.
Well, and then some of them are built, like, in the middle of water.
That's this one. It's it's a literal island.
Yeah.
Like, the water buds up to the walls almost.
It's weird.
Uh-huh.
So, like, either water wasn't that high, maybe.
Well, they do speculate. There could have been land.
But it doesn't make sense.
But then why
either.
would they build it out there?
Why would they build it the way they built it?
Definitely not for keeping the British away, like, you know, as a military tactic. It makes no sense. Like, no one in their right mind would put it there. Makes no sense. Yeah. So again, it's just like when you start looking into these things and asking questions, like normal questions with your brain that thinks, like it's
your
like
eyes that see.
your eyes that see. It's like, okay, like what they're telling us in these history books is such a lie. And then let's get back into like North America. There's just so much there. So in the 1800s, a lot was going on. 1776, America became independent, right? We had the founding fathers who were all Freemasons, FYI.
FYI, even our current one.
Let's talk about their names. So Freemasons, masonry is buildings. Free buildings. I think, and I don't know, but that they came here and took over the old world buildings that were left here after the catastrophic mud flood.
Because they were free?
Because they were free. Yep, Freemasons.
Oh, I've never thought of that.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And then they founded all of these cities and these buildings. Freemasons founded all of them. I think that really just means they found them.
Yes, so
they didn't build them.
They
don't. They claim that they built them, but they don't use that terminology. They say founded. We founded this.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look. It's funny. There's Freemasonry lodges everywhere in every single city. I don't care how small the town is. In the middle of the mountains, you go up. There's a masonry, Freemason building. They're the worst, ugliest, crappiest building in the city, in the town. But yet you're telling me those same people built these like incredible works of art. Like, you know what I mean?
You think all their buildings would be,
they're like the worst buildings. Like they're terrible. Yeah. It's just like the whole story is so like goofy. Like when you really look into it, it's like none of this is adding up. And then during the 1800s, we had the orphan trains.
Yes, that was weird.
So at one point in time, in America alone, North America, there was 250,000 orphans, 250,000 children that had no parents. At the same time, we had insane asylums popping up all over the U.S. And they used these massive buildings like castles, huge. And and they tell you they erected these things just to house insane people.
Yeah. And then suddenly all the insane people just disappeared.
Correct.
After that generation was gone.
Correct.
Yeah.
So these people were being locked up for things like religious extremism.
Was one.
Yeah, that's true too.
Or reminiscing, like
remembering things. So people were getting locked up for things like their religion and like this. But we're in the 1800s in the U.S. I'm pretty sure like it's not our First Amendment. Like you have freedom of religion, but now we're locking people up left and right. That makes no sense either.
Nope.
So these people were being taken into these insane asylums against their will. And they were getting lobotomies are being done on them. They're being tortured, all sorts of things.
It's horrible.
And at one point, there was 150,000 adults in insane asylums in the U.S. alone.
And how many kids
250,000. So people say, could these be the parents of these children? Were they separated from them?
Would make sense.
Yes, because if you're trying to reset a population, you have to get rid of the people that remember and don't want to fall in line.
Well, and also like, okay, so what year was this again that this was all taking place? Because when did Columbus come over? When did we found? I'm just trying to figure out like how many people were actually, in America that they would have to like reset, because that you would think you'd have to reset everyone.
I'm pretty sure they said like worldwide we were like, I want to say we're at like 1 billion people or something. It was like really small.
Okay. But that's still like a pretty small number out of 1 billion.
It's a huge number. Percentage wise, 250,000 orphans. It's actually, because if you put that same percentage into 7 billion people today, we would have like millions
of... No, I'm just saying like that's a small percentage for only having that many sane asylum patients.
Oh.
Like to reset. So maybe in America there were still less because we were still newly
Well, yes, America would have less.
Wasn't America founded
It was founded too.
Yes.
And then, so you have that going on. And then the Cabbage Patch Babies, that was a big thing too. They have all these depictions, cartoons, postcards. And then they came out with a doll, like when we were kids.
I had a Cabbage Patch.
I did too, but it's based off of this.
They came with a birth certificate. Remember that?
Yes. And the whole idea was that these kids were like popping up in fields. These babies were everywhere. Who are these babies? Whose babies? People don't just abandon their children like this.
Didn't they say, too, that there weren't really doppelgangers until after the so-called Cabbage Patch baby boom?
That's true.
So it also makes you wonder, like, were these, was IVF type test tube baby type thing already going on back then? I feel like that technology's been around for a long time, too. I don't think there's anything new under the sun. I think we just are getting recycled, repackaged information.
I love that.
And technology.
I agree.
So
very well put. I totally agree. Yeah. And then incubator babies. So like on Coney Island, for example, during the World's Fairs, which we'll get into that next, they had babies in incubators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wasn't it to like grow them? Like, oh, look, we can grow this baby from like 2 months.
Then the mainstream narrative is these were babies that were donated by the mothers temporarily, sent hundreds of miles away. The mother just birthed this baby. She's like, oh, yes, take my baby, put it at a World's Fair on display in an incubator just for people to see, to show that incubators are a new invention and can keep babies alive outside the womb. No mother would do that. Like, that makes no sense.
Well, and if your baby's already born, that's the other thing, though. If your baby's born, like, of course it's going to live.
Well, these weren't, I don't think, babies that even needed to be in there.
Okay.
It was just for, like, they were
modeling premature.
These things.
Okay, gotcha.
They were just modeling these incubators.
Yeah.
But then there's proof that there's an article that was found that talks about how the incubator babies were orphans. Because they were like, no, they're not orphans. The mothers donated them for this, not, you know what I mean, for the event, which is, again, like, so weird.
But the event was, like, a long time, right?
The fairs would go on for, like, a year, wouldn't it?
That's a long time, like, for a baby to be away from its mother.
Or even a week.
Yeah.
Like, how do you send off your baby? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
So I think these were, again, orphans, and they were putting them on display. And
orphans or IVF, like test tube babies is what people were calling it.
Or test tube babies. They were growing them in labs. And, going back to the orphan trains, basically what that is there was orphans put on these trains and dumped off all over the United States. And you look at these, like, Midwest families that had, like, 12 kids all around the same age. How do you think they got them? They would show up at these train stations, and then the husband and wife would choose the kids they want, and they put them to work on their farms.
Wow.
That's how this all happened.
Well, I mean, they've already proven that we have artificial wombs that can grow.
Right.
So it's like, it's not far-fetched or like hard to even think that like that was happening then too. But that's sad because you're literally just creating children for the sole purpose of working on your farm.
Yeah, you look
it's
at
like
all the
slaves. It's human trafficking.
And in factories.
Yeah.
All these kids in factories, again, makes no sense. Why? I mean, yes, you could pay kids less, but like kids are going to be less efficient.
Yeah.
They're going to take way more of your time. They're working with machinery that's like 10 times their size. They're on boxes to reach levers.
But also just think about like the first time you teach your child how to wash dishes. How does that work out?
Having them load the dishwasher, the cups are going up. Like, exactly. Like,
and how many times does it take you? It is not just like you show them and teach them one time and then it's like perfect by time 5. Yeah. No, it's like you show them and teach them once and then by year 5, like, I think we got this down.
Yeah, like it makes no sense. Exactly. Like, why would you pick a kid to run these like massive factories, all these children? Like, I think there was a lack of people, and I think they were using children because I think a lot of the population got wiped out in the supposed mud flood. And then you look at these pictures that they have. So you'll have these massive buildings, huge columns, statues, angels on them, gold on the top of the roof, spires, like so extravagant on the U.S. soil, mind you, here. And they look ancient. These buildings look ancient. And then you have the streets are just pure mud.
Yeah.
There's no pavers. There's no sidewalks. And they're like, oh, well, they just didn't put roads in. I'm sorry. You're not going to build these magnificent structures in these buildings and then be trudging through mud, walking into these things. You would have roads. Like, that's
exactly.
That's dumb. So, and then you see these photos and it's like,
horse and buggies.
No one's there.
Well, the people don't
There's no one
match.
in the pictures, too. A lot of them, there's not.
But on the ones that do have people, it's like, the people, like, do not match the building. They do not match, like, the timeline. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's so bizarre. When you really look at it, you're like,
that would
this
be like,
doesn't look like a legit, candid photo. Like, because even of the people that are in it, there's ones where, like, people are dressed like aristocrats. All the women are dressed in these gowns and these umbrellas, and the men are all dapper with the top hats. And they're just standing around on these muddy roads with all these huge buildings all around them. And there's no kids. There's nothing happening. No one's moving.
That's just like they're frozen.
They're all
flash mob.
They're freaking staged.
Flash
mob.
Yeah. Or photoshopped
in one way or the other.
Okay, so also though, like, think of the most modern building you can think of. Like, I don't know.
Brutalist architecture, the ugliest thing in the world.
Just the most modern, sterile, just very cold building you can think of. And then take like a 20s flapper and put her in there. Like, it doesn't fit. fit.
Good point.
It doesn't match.
Right.
Or take like, I don't know, just a different era of time and put them in that. It doesn't like take a queen that's like, you know, or the big white wigs or that period of time and put them. It doesn't fit. Like it doesn't match their surroundings. Like their clothes don't match. Like, you know, it's just, that's not who's going to live there. The person that's going to live there is going to be someone who's, I don't know.
People like today. Like you put these people, like look at government buildings and these office buildings. They're the most ugly, cold, soulless things. And then they put people in them and then people are cranky. They don't want to be there. And it's like, yeah, because you're not inspiring anyone. It's like, it's the opposite. I think it's just, it brings you down.
I think it's slowly just killing the soul, like by, you know, just the ugly buildings that we live in. We live in boxes now. We have no beauty. There's no, like, there's nothing of interest in the buildings anymore.
I know. And like, look at how like they used to build even just like a park bench or a little pole on a street. It was like detailed.
Yeah.
Everything had detailed. And, like, everything was detailed. Every light post. And now it's just like the most ugly, basic, you know, it's just, there's a design. It's designed to be that way. I don't think it's just that way because, we're saving money. I think it's like, no, we're making things ugly for a reason.
Even cars. Cars are the same way. Cars, like I was telling my husband, I'm like, they all look the same anymore. I'm like, I don't even want to get anything new. They all just look so similar. Like, why get something new when I
That's a good point.
literally just have the same thing? So I don't know. I think that about just anything that ever had beauty at one point, you know, because I feel like cars did. Like old cars were amazing. Like, especially
they were luxurious.
Yes, and it's just like now they all just kind of look like minivan crossover. Type things.
They all look like a hybrid of each other. Like everything is kind of like, I see what you're saying. I totally can see that. Just like, again, like with buildings, like everything kind of looks the same now. Like you look at like the famous London Bridge, right? So that used to be like a city, like a town was built on this bridge and eventually it started to crumble. So then they rebuilt it and it's like the most modern, ugly looking, like people now don't even pay attention to that bridge. There's another bridge down the way there that's like beautiful and old and people always think that's the London Bridge because it's like they redid it and it's like looks like a normal overpass.
They probably did that on purpose because the London Bridge has like dark history too, right?
Yes, it does.
So they're probably like, let's not draw attention to
erase
this.
the history.
Let's make it plain. Yeah,
but it's just so sad.
It is sad,
you know. And
my soul craves the old world.
I crave it too. I do too. And like it was built to inspire, but like. Why? Like, what was different about people then? What was different about that time? Because they were not living in the same world we live in today. They were not. And then people will say like, oh, they could build those old buildings because they weren't sitting in front of their TVs and they had time. It's like, no.
We don't even, they can't, like.
It makes that's the silliest excuse I've ever heard. Like, we're just too busy? No. Yes. The whole world has been redesigned. Our schedules, the way we live, our everything, in our food. And, you know, you look at these old buildings, they weren't just built for function. They were built to inspire, to have people come and stop and stare and like admire this stuff. Like, who did this? Like, that's the thing. Like, we don't know. And because the narrative they give us is not the right answer. That's for sure. So it's like now we just have to go, okay, let's go back to the Bible. Let's go back to old texts. Let's look at the evidence that's still here today because they've tried to destroy most of this. So another thing that was going on in the 1800s, they had Cabbage Patch Babies, orphan trains, people like be thrown in insane asylums, all this stuff going on. And at the same time, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, New York, Boston, San Francisco, Chicago, all had great fires. The Great Fires, that's what they call it.
They had world fairs too.
They had world fairs, but the Great Fires is what reset or destroyed all of these full-on cities, burnt to the ground.
Their libraries.
Everything.
Books.
Within a 100-year span, every single major city in the United States had a Great Fire. Now let's talk about something.
Okay.
These buildings were built with what?
Stone.
Since when does fire burn stone?
Since never.
Your fireplace is literally made out of stone. Like, a fireplace is stone. Like, you don't burn stone with fire.
They look like they were bombed.
And, like, not only that, like, have you ever seen, like, a whole neighborhood burnt down? Unless it's, like, something in California. But, like, how often do you see that?
Pretty rare.
Very rare.
I mean, in Colorado, we had the Marshall Fire, like, a few, like, it was probably, like, 5 years ago. Now. But whole neighborhoods were burning down. I mean, and in California,
it happens in the foothills.
and then maybe in, Hawaii. But again, it's like those things I don't believe were natural fires either.
Exactly. So you're telling me.
I mean, the Marshall Fire was, sorry.
Yeah, sure, it could have started that way. I get that.
Some of the other ones, I have a hard time believing.
Me too. So then you think, okay, so like every single major city in the United States made of stone, massive buildings, like old world architecture, burnt down to the ground, all within a span of 100 years. And then prior to that, we had the World's Fairs. So we can get into that if that's what you're going to read about.
Yeah, that's what I was going to read about. So the World Fair, they were crazy because it said that they built them in 2 years and they tore them down after.
Temporary.
They were just temporary. But I was listening to this guy and he was saying that if you ask an actual like architect, he said just the design alone of those World Fairs to design them would take 15 years easily. So I find that kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of weird things with World Fairs. So they're like, oh, we built this 44-acre building on the inside. 44 acres. Okay. Canals, fountains, massive statues, electricity. They were all lit up as well. And this was before before electricity was supposedly.
Again, we're not the most advanced civilized.
We are not. Chicago World Fair looked like Rome in its heyday. Like, looks like Rome. If people look it up, look up World's Fair in Chicago, St. Louis as well.
Their fountains, their buildings.
And you look at it and you're like, wait, they're telling us they built this in, like you said, like 2 years. They're saying they built it for temporary purposes, just for people to come around the world and look at these things. And then they're going to tear it all down. They said they made it with like paper mache, basically, like plaster, and that was it. But then again, like going back to experts that are builders, they're like, plaster then was made with cement. You would have to have steel beams holding these buildings up. There's no way you could just do it with like wood, like temporary.
They're like, we meant
materials.
Styrofoam.
Yeah, and it's like, but here's another thing, like we know for a fact. These were not temporary buildings. They've been destroyed on purpose because some of the World's Fair's buildings are still up today. And they're not temporary, and they're full on stone.
And a lot of these buildings had dates chiseled into them. So instead of just destroying the whole building, you would think that they would just replace, replaque.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah. But it's just interesting because it's like I can't find a rhyme or reason for like why they chose to destroy certain things but not other things.
I don't know. What I think is they just couldn't get rid of everything. Like World War II, they went over and they destroyed a ton of stuff too.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of why they were over there bombing, and they were just bombing things up because they're rewriting history.
Yeah.
They want to it doesn't take more than 2 generations to completely rewrite history.
Yeah. Which is scary.
Crazy, and now with AI, you could Google something and like you'll get the answer they want you to have now. And they could constantly change it. Constantly.
Yeah. Like
once we're past, and then it's our kids and our grandkids are probably Googling the same thing we Google today, and they're going to get a different answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We have to put all of our podcasts on like a little flash drive.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Multiple copies for our grandchildren.
What are our grandkids going to think of us? Like, Grandma was crazy. No, she was so wise.
Yeah,
she was so wise.
Smart.
She was so smart.
She was ahead of her time.
That's right. Yeah, I hope that's what they say. But yeah, so again, like the World's Fairs make no sense. And, you really just could look into any major city in the U.S. and like find these things, and you're like, nothing is adding up. Like San Francisco, like you said, they said they built these cities in like no time at all. No people were there. And it's like these perfect, like, who's the city planner? Who's planning that? It's perfectly planned out.
Well, and
roads,
also
sewage, everything. Like, you're telling me, like, some random people that were there, gold miners, like, just put up these towns? Because no.
But they also are seeing that a lot of the cities look like circuit boards now. Like, they're laid out as if they were a computer circuit board.
Yeah.
That's super interesting to me, too, because it's like, why would you do that? Why, you know what I mean?
How did you even know to do that?
How did you know to do that?
And how did you do it? I feel like, too, it's like you would have had to have some sort of aerial view as well as what you're doing. So maybe like airships again,
maybe.
Being up there, being able to get the aerial view, mapping out the cities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm so sorry, but like Cowboys and Indians did not build these cities and did not build these buildings.
No.
Did not happen.
No.
Can't convince me that.
Well, and I mean, also, too, like, I've had thoughts of, like, what if these buildings, because they are built of marble, which is, like, pretty, it stands for a long time. It's rock,
Oh, yeah.
And what if these buildings were, pre-flood buildings?
I've thought of that too.
Because I'm like,
pre-Noah's flood.
Yes, pre-Noah's flood buildings. Because it's like they had the knowledge of the Watchers. They were teaching them how to do all of these things. And now that I read through it again, I used to think oh, what were they teaching them? How to start a fire with sticks. That was kind of what I thought. But now that I go and I'm looking at it with new eyes of they were way more advanced than we were. It would make sense that they would know how to teach them how to do things with lasers or,
Yeah.
even help them build them because they would have been way bigger than a human.
Yeah. Okay, the doors. There's these buildings that have 30-foot doors, and the handles are 15 feet up too.
Yes.
It's who's using that handle?
Not a normal human.
Not a normal human. It was these buildings were built for two different types of beings, massive. Could have been massive angels. Could have been Nephilim. Could have been both. Could have been the giants. Could have been. I don't know, but it's there's evidence of also that as well.
Right. Of giants disappearing during the same time that Tartaria kind of disappeared or, started going off the map.
Well, and there's a lot of petrified giants that as well. So Mud Flood could have done that as well.
Okay, so we have to talk about Mud Flood University for just a second because you introduced that to me and it was just fascinating since we're going to touch just briefly on
Mud Fossil University.
Or Mud Fossil
yes,
University. Yes. But how this guy basically shows that these things that we're told are carvings of giants of marble. They have, what is it? It appears that they're bleeding and blood is coming through, or how does that? What is that?
Well, Colossal, I think is one of the one that you're thinking of. And I don't remember where that is exactly, but it's everyone has seen this. It's a massive statue. Man, he's old. He's got a long beard. He's kind of sitting, hunched over. I think it's by a body of water, if I'm correct. So yeah, this guy, he is a retired, I don't know, fossilologist.
He's
what does he do?
Professor or something,
yeah,
isn't he? He's
professor. Yeah,
he's really.
He was a college professor,
an archaeologist,
something like that. He studies. He knows a lot about biology as well.
Okay.
And he breaks down how, no, that's not a statue. That is literally a giant that was petrified during some sort of cataclysmic event, like a mud flood. Because what happens is, from my understanding is, if you're whatever, an animal, human, whatever you are, if you are all of a sudden just caked in mud, instantly killed like that, you fossilize really quickly.
Right.
And they've even found fossilized cowboy boots. Fossils don't take long to make.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, also, too, I feel like they had some sort of alchemy or something that they did that was able to petrify people.
Interesting.
Did you see there was a post recently and it showed one of the arms, in the gardens of the gods, one of the arms had been broken, but it legit had it looked like, bones inside of where it was broken. He was like, if this were truly carved, why would they take the time to put bones inside of it somehow? And then how would they put the marble outside of it?
Oh, wow. So they maybe encased a human in marble?
Or somehow had some sort of
technology that could
or they dipped them in a
right, dipping somebody in cement or something.
Yeah. Or some sort of liquid that would calcify them instantly. Or because you've seen how the fabric and stuff looks like they're laying over it, or people have eyelashes.
Insane.
There was a piece of string on a why would you put a piece of string on a garment?
Sculpture, yeah.
On a sculpture.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I know. So. I mean, and I think they definitely had some amazing skills, but then, yeah, you're right. Some of it's well, that almost looks too realistic, for someone just to make that. Could it be a real? Right. It's like that Balenciaga. Yes. Remember that? The mannequin in the window, and people were freaking out because it looked like a real human that was just kind of covered in a wax coating or something.
Ew, was it?
I don't know. They
Probably
wouldn't let anyone.
was.
And then they were saying they weren't they didn't want people taking photos with it, things like that, getting too close. And I'm that's just weird.
That is weird.
It's really creepy. So I don't know about that.
Okay.
But that's kind of makes me the modern day version of hiding a human within something and saying, oh, this is just all built and created, but it's underneath, it's a human.
It reminds me of stories too. Remember in Narnia, how the witch was able to turn them into stone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she does. Yeah. Right. So maybe something like that. Yeah. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
So.
Well, okay. So then what else? Buildings. Okay. Cathedrals. Let's get into cathedrals. That honestly could be a whole entire podcast in and of itself.
Uh-huh.
But
with their spires and all of that. Is that what we're going into?
Well, I was going to talk about the what do you call that? The cymatics. So
okay, yes.
You look at like these cathedrals, they are not only just jaw-dropping, breathtakingly gorgeous. You look at the precision, the patterns on the ceilings, like just perfect, absolutely perfect. And then they have these huge stained glass windows, and they're all shaped like cymatic waves or patterns, which is basically like what frequency creates. So if you ever seen videos where they put like sand on a board and then they play a certain frequency, like all the sand will turn into a beautiful pattern.
Okay.
And depending on the frequency, it changes shapes.
Oh, okay.
Well, all these stained glass windows have this.
Yes.
And not only that, these cathedrals were made with perfect acoustics. And then they had these massive organs, right? So they had these huge organs, perfect acoustics. They had the cymatic designs everywhere. They even have it in like their some of the wood stonework as well. Okay. And you wonder, like, okay, like maybe these were, and people speculate, some sort of frequency healing centers, which sounds woo-woo, but it's like there's so much technology and meaning and intention behind the way these buildings were built. And so, you know, people speculate, were people coming into these places and listening to the organs play. And again, like, I love like thinking about the words and the verbiage of things like organs. Your body's full of organs. Is that why it's called an organ? It was healing your organs.
Yeah, it could have been.
You know, like we don't know, but it's like something magnificent was happening in these churches and cathedrals. Like I think way more than just a place of worship. I think there was so much going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense because going back to the Rockefellers, I can't remember the exact year, but they changed the like standard key that we use music. Like they changed the tuning of, like they standardized it across the board. And they've even done studies that show certain sounds at certain hertz actually will cause a calming effect, or it'll cause like a maddening effect where like you will be more angry, you'll be more prone to rioting and chaos and revolting. And so I just think that totally makes sense based off of science that we can actually like, you know, it proves it. Like,
again, it's like you go, it's like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, they all like keep coming up because it's like they basically weaponized everything. All the good that was in the world. I think there was a time where things were really peaceful in this world, which is why things were able to be built the way they were. And people seem to be thriving. And, but they weaponized it again. Like frequency, we're all made out of frequency. Every cell in our body has a frequency, and there's bad and there's good. And there is. And like when you're listening to a bad one, your body literally responds. And a good one, same thing. So yeah, it's like, and then, you know, it's so sad, but like most of these cathedrals have been destroyed, but the ones that aren't, it's like you walk in, you're like, something greater happened here. Like this, you feel it. Like you feel it.
Yeah. Even with like amphitheaters and stuff like that, those were all created with like acoustics in mind. And even just old buildings, a lot of them are created the same way. Like it has perfect acoustics, and it's like, what were these really used for? Yeah. You know, because it was designed, like you said, with intention and purpose.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I mean, and then you go to the top of the buildings, and all of them had these spires or antenna, if you want to call it that. Yeah. All over the buildings. And people speculate that like they were literally, and I believe this, they were harnessing energy from the air, from the ether. Because we have static electricity around us all the time. Like, that's what lightning is. And, like, it's always around us. And there's a way to harness it for free. And again, who enters the picture?
You mean not with a key and a kite?
Yeah, not with a stupid key and a kite. So I think that they were harnessing electricity for thousands of years. I think they were using it 100%. And it was free energy.
Well,
and then the Rockefellers came.
Tesla, he was, like, trying to figure out how to do free energy.
Yeah, he was. He was trying to, like, bring it back, I think.
Yes.
Because I think it was already being used, and then he was trying to bring it back. Because they took down a lot of these spires. A lot of them are gone, but not all of them. Yeah. You know, you go to Europe, like, they're still there, and some buildings here as well. And most of them, they started taking them all down. They took down all our bells, these beautiful church bells that they had everywhere. That was significant, too. I think there was something useful about the bells.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, with the sound and the the vibrations and...
For the people that lived in the area, I think they were giving them out beautiful sound. The bells are proven to actually heal you.
Well, and I also heard that like the demons didn't like the bells. So this is really cool, like talking about how like, you know, where you were talking about you put the sand on the board and you shoot sounds at it. So when they played the sound of the bells at the sand, it would create like, I think they called it like the throne of God. It was kind of like an emerald shape. And then when they play like Christian music and certain words were like saying like Holy Spirit or certain words, it would create that same shape.
Wow.
And then they play just like a random secular song off the radio and they shot it at it. And it literally was just like,
it's a mess.
It was a mess. There was no shape forming. It was just like bouncing off the board. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if that's doing that to sand, like imagine what it's doing to your body.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's fascinating. I love that stuff.
I do too, because it's like, this is things you can test yourself and like, prove it. Like,
no, it's all real. Like what we're saying, it's all true.
Yeah,
like
sound waves. It's
Uh-huh,
proven.
100%.
Light waves. Mm-hmm. This is all proven things.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And it's like the New Age people, they took it again and like, they perverted it just like Satan always does and made frequencies seem like a bad thing. But it's like, no, God literally made them.
Well, he spoke the world into creation.
With his frequency.
With his voice. Exactly. And I heard this crazy thing. I think it was Dr. Laura. She said that your voice, the words you say, actually never really ever go away. They just get so quiet and they're still bouncing around forever.
You just like out in the air.
Can't hear it.
That's crazy. So like every word spoken ever is somewhere exists. Is this somewhere? That's really wild.
Which is crazy because like the Bible does say like you'll have to give an account for every word, every idle word you've ever spoke, which is terrifying.
And the power is within the tongue. Yeah. I know.
I'm pretty sure I've said a lot of idle words.
I know. Well, that's what Jesus took care of for us. Thank you, Jesus, because we can't be perfect.
Oh, man, for real.
But yeah, no, that's such a beautiful thing. It really is. Like, I just think, there's obviously something was happening that we're not taught about in history books, and like now again, it's like, okay, how do we piece this together? I love what people come up with. There's so many great theories out there, and I don't know which one is exactly right. And I like too, because I feel like people in this community that really dig into this topic, no one's like claiming to know the answers.
We're
like,
just bouncing ideas around. Yeah, we're like, let's throw it at the wall.
Everyone's humble. See if it sticks.
Yeah.
And then like, hey, like you might be on a certain path, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, okay, now I need to divert to this other path because now this part's not making sense. Like, I don't know. Like, you and I are very open-minded, and like, we're very like, we're not going to die on any hill when it comes to this stuff. No. But
we'll probably go back and be like, oh, we said this in one episode.
Could be. But it's like it's an evolving thing.
Yeah, because
it's evolving.
And as new things come out.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, have you seen the place in India that's like, literally it's a temple and it's like carved into the earth and it's so detailed. Like the little details are like as small as like a little like pencil eraser. Like, and everything is so intricate. Like these engravings of like people like in action doing something like a picture, but it's like embossed into the earth and it looks like it was 3D printed. This whole thing looks like a 3D printer printed this thing.
Well, 3D printing's coming back.
I'm coming back. And then they have like these huge pillars and they all spin and they have these turbines and all this stuff built to these buildings. It's like they were
doing something.
And like, how the heck did they build this? There's no way that you did this by hand. It's so perfect and detailed. Maybe we could throw that one up here. I'll have that picture thrown up of the one in India because you look at it and your mind is just like blown away. Like you cannot be an adult and look at that and like believe the mainstream media narrative. Like I just don't think you can like, if you're really being true to yourself and like what you're looking at, you cannot deny that they had some other technology.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way.
Is this the same one, if I'm thinking of the same one? Is this the one that shows they have like carvings into the pillars and stuff, but like it shows that these women have like bras on? Did you see that one?
No.
Yeah, so it looks like they have bras on. It looks like they have sandals, like heels, heeled sandals, like my shoes. Isn't that weird though? So like all of these things like were around then, if that were the case.
Were the women walking around like that, like in public, or
I don't know.
Heeled sandals and bra.
I mean, we walk around like
in my house, maybe not in sandals. Slippers only.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
I just
so random.
It was weird.
I don't know if it's in
and
that
they
one.
do have like, I think, extra toes and fingers.
Oh, six toes, 6 fingers. So they were up something else.
Yeah.
Could be.
I saw Katy Perry's Met Gala costume had 6 fingers.
No way.
Gloves. Yeah.
The Met Gala. I love people that make fun of it, like on Instagram. They'll like come out in a trash bag and like a pot in their head. They're like, I'm at the Met Gala.
Isn't that the truth, though?
It really
so
is.
True.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm like, Hollywood is so, I'm sorry.
Hollywood.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, people just need to stop giving it their energy. Really, truly. Those celebrities are not worth your time, your thoughts, your money. They're not.
No.
No.
Oh my gosh. But they still shape
Sorry,
so much of
Swifties.
our... I know. They still shape so much of like the culture though.
That's why they're
so
planted
much.
there.
I know.
They have so much influence.
I don't like it. But
No, I know.
No, they don't get any more of our time.
Oh yeah, I'm like, we're
Shifting
giving them
gears.
energy, but we're telling people not to.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. Okay, so kind of going back to the mud floods, I saw recently that they had been like digging more of the Sphinx out. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's like way deeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And same with the pyramids.
Yeah.
And that they...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Easter Island heads.
Oh, yes, those
They have
too.
full bodies. They just found out. They're not just
They're
heads.
not just
They
heads.
have bodies underneath the ground.
I feel
like
so
we're literally
deceived.
living on like another civilization because there's like even like it doesn't even matter where you're at, Europe, wherever. When they have to excavate far down, they find roads, they find buildings, they find arches, doorways, pillars, like all underneath the earth. Like the earth just doesn't, things just don't sink.
Yeah.
Something happened and it seems like it happened all at the same time. So, it's just so crazy.
I know. The Easter head one, that was wild because growing up, that's what we were told. They're just heads. They don't know why they have just heads.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, there's a full-on body.
Yeah, and they're huge. They're
I know.
massive.
Don't they go like 20 feet under the ground?
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
And then there was something else that was similar to that they had just unearthed. But I mean, I feel like
it's
even...
literally almost daily.
Okay, speaking of like sinking, what about like Atlantis?
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
Do you feel like Atlantis was, sunk during like Noah's flood?
I don't know.
Again, being like...
I don't know when, but I do think it was flooded.
I do
it
too.
Got sunk, flooded, both.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
because that was a real place too.
Yeah,
I totally believe
so.
It was. Yeah. And we just again, Tartaria was a real place. But history will not tell you that.
Mm-mm.
So it's like, okay, if they're going to do that, then it's like, okay, Atlantis is probably real too.
Right. I'm honestly surprised they hadn't made a movie about it yet.
Oh my
To make it seem fake.
To make it seem fake.
Yeah.
Tartaria.
I mean, they did the moon landing movie.
No, but
they made Atlantis.
True.
The Lost Cities.
I do think of all the movies though, even the show Game of Thrones, it's like there, I think there's a lot of truth in that show as well.
Okay,
Game
I
of Thrones,
seen
all
it.
the dragons.
Okay, yeah.
And I just think, they
Truth in
do.
Plain sight.
They always do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they have not done a Tartaria series. That would be so cool.
That would be cool
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, so that's what it was like.
Yeah, yeah. But there's so much history there, and they're all in these maps.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw too a Facebook post. This girl, she went to an estate sale, and she got this big, those big globes that are this big, and they on rollers. It had Tartaria all on it. It's just you could still find it today on things.
So it wasn't that long ago.
No,
so
it was. I don't think it was very long ago. And then you look at maps too of like you were saying before, Chicago. It was called Chicago or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
Very on the map. And then California used to be an island.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. I think it's because we have the Hoover Dam, we have all of these dams, and I think it's definitely changing the landscape of our country.
I think so too, because I feel like it would make more sense if something was land and then got separated by water versus it was an island and now it's attached.
Mm-hmm.
It would make sense. They shut off the valves, they shut off the water source, so then it dried it up, and it's all desert there.
Right.
And it's all below sea level.
Yeah.
Death Valley is all below sea level, way below. So
Yeah.
I think that used to be ocean, and California was an island because you look at these world maps, it's a full-on island.
It was a full-on
island. Long, big, long, skinny island.
Yep. Well, you know how people are always going to say California's going to go under. There's a reason why they're saying that.
Yes.
California's going to go under.
And we have all the fault lines over there too. Maybe that has something to do with it as well.
Maybe.
With what they did by changing the topography and messing with everything, and now we have earthquakes and things like that are so prevalent, and it's right there.
I mean, that's a whole other thing, but earthquakes, how they can cause those now.
They could cause them. They manipulate our weather. They can cause tornadoes. They can, steer a storm, and they could create earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to break it to everyone, but it's true. Okay, so then also Sedona, Arizona, not too far from us.
Mm-hmm.
There are places named Cathedral Rock. They have the Devil's Bridge, things like that. And it's really bizarre. So people go there from all over to hike these really interesting rock formations. But when you start looking at them a little closer, and just really looking at it for what it is, these formations look more like old cities and buildings that were burnt down, burnt, molten wax, rock that melted like wax. You have these huge towers. Some of these huge rocks that they'll just tell you, like, oh, water over time created all these weird formations.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them still have doorways and windows in them.
Do they have like scorch marks on them and stuff?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So it looks like something could have been like fire from heaven came down or something.
Or a project.
And completely melted them. Or a laser energy. I don't know what caused it, but there's evidence. There's evidence of melted buildings that have just turned into, now it looks like rock.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Devil's Bridge, for example, it's this huge bridge in the middle of the desert. And it's got this arch underneath it.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, yeah, that's just created by nature. But it's like, clearly that's a bridge.
Right.
And then they have one called, I think it's called Cathedral Rock.
Okay.
And it looks like, I think this one's actually in New Mexico, but same idea, where it looks like the top dome of like our state building right here. There's like a big dome and it's got the thing on top. And they call it Cathedral Rock.
Weird.
Or Church Rock. Like they name it after these things. No, but there's a freaking doorway still there.
I want to.
It's all melted. You can't go in it because it's all like melted.
Open.
But there's like opening.
Open it.
But they say like that's just nature just created it. So like Sedona's really weird. There's also what's weird about that area is there's a lot of vortex energy there. I don't know if you know about this. Like trees will literally grow and they'll twist like into a vortex.
Weird.
So a lot of like unfortunate like witchcraft goes on there. People go and do weird things there. There's some weird people that live out in that desert too that are like really into voodoo and but there's a reason. I think possibly they're tapping into some sort of history and energy there. But it seems to be that there could have been a massive, city that was there and it was all burnt down. And now it's, just turned into like what looks like rock because it's, bricks basically and stone that were just melted down. So now it just looks like rock. But you could see the towers. You could see like the buildings. Like if you just look at like you Google Sedona and you start looking on Google Images, like you could almost see like the whole layout of this city within these rocks. It's
like proof that it's just a rock by like, punching through that door and prove to me that it's like not.
And why would it have a door opening if nature just made this rock?
Okay, well we can also talk about like Moab, like the arches in Moab, same thing. Like these are
in Utah, right?
Yeah, in Utah. And it's like there's no way they look like bridges.
Yeah, exactly.
They look like bridges. I mean, and again, since we're talking on like scorched things, like even in the Grand Canyon, this is all kind of within the same area, right? Like the Four Corners, like Utah, Colorado, like they're all right there.
The West has a lot of weird stuff like that in our deserts. Yeah. And like now when you look at it too, it's like it is all desert. You don't usually build a civilization in an area with harsh climates like that and no water. I think it used to be completely different. It was probably lush. It probably had rivers. It had all the things. And it was all scorched and destroyed, and now it's like a desert.
Yeah.
And again, like that's not the mud floods per se, but like that is also to me, it's like, okay, it's another sign of some sort of catastrophic event or reset, So we just have so much evidence all around us all the time. And if we just close the textbooks and shut off the noise and just actually did our own digging and our own just going around and looking at things for what they are, like I think collectively as a people, I think we would all live so differently if we knew our history and we knew where we came from. It would change everything.
Yeah.
It would.
Well, that's why it's so important to know because like past events or like future indicators, right? Like things that have happened before are going to happen again. And so I think that's why they erase it because they're like, if they don't know what's happened, then they don't know what to expect. And
that's
so
true too.
It's a very much like we're trying to keep you in the dark, but praise God, we have Jesus and the Holy Spirit who gives us information
reveals
and knowledge.
These things.
Yeah, He'll reveal the things to us.
I think He is. I think He's using like, we're in the age of information, and I think as bad as that can be, like God's using it for so much good, and I think there's a reason why this stuff's coming out, and He's giving His people like the eyes to see, the ears to hear at this time, this moment in time. I really think there's a reason for it.
Oh yeah,
because like why it's important, and like we're not just learning this just to. We're not doing this for a podcast either. No. Like you and I, like this is who we are.
Yeah,
like that's how the podcast came about is because this is the kind of stuff that we think is important. And it matters. Like, yes, your daily life matters and like your job and all the things, but like we need to like not get stuck in just the now and like really, I don't know. I think look at the bigger picture.
Preparing for the future, in a way. Too. Because it's like the more you know, the more you can be prepared. And so I think it's just not just going along with what you're told because clearly, I mean,
well, they can't control us.
No.
If they can't control us at gunpoint, right? So it's like the only way to control us is to control the information and what we think. So now we're all like slaves to our own mind based on what they've told us to think and believe.
Yeah.
And so it's like once you break out of that, it's like, I'm sorry, like you're no longer a slave to the system.
Right, exactly.
And like that to me is like, I don't want to be that. Like I don't want to fall for anything and be deceived. And they do everything from the shadows, where I think before it was like out in the open. And then they decided, hey, we're going to start ruling people from the shadows.
They were getting persecuted.
Uh-huh.
But I think they're coming back out of the shadows again. They're getting like bolder.
They're getting revealed.
Yeah.
People are finding things out. After 2020, like the veil has been so thinned out. People are like, we see through it. Most people.
Well, yeah. There's still a good
still a lot that
don't.
We're working on you guys.
Yeah. I mean, and again, we're not trying to like persuade anyone. We're just talking about things that we're like, this isn't adding up.
It's not even like, it's not like I want people to believe a certain thing. I just think people just need to be open and like start thinking critically. That's really it. Just like think critically and like let that take you where it takes you.
Yeah.
That's fine. But just like not putting your head in the sand.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, for us also, I think we always just go back. What does the word say? What does the Bible say? You know, like that's kind of our true north. We're like, well, this can't be, you know, like with the flood, like we can't have multiple floods because like God promised.
At least worldwide.
Right. Worldwide floods. Right. Yes. Isolated, smaller floods. Yes. But a worldwide catastrophe, like no. Right. Like that's not happening. So it's just things like that like also help put the puzzle pieces together. Right. Of like, okay, well, we maybe don't get to know the past fully, but we know like in the future going forward, like these things, you know, can't happen.
Right. So, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
That is very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, also for the people that don't think that our government would, you know, do those things, this is like an actual quote from
the horse's mouth?
Yes, from a CIA director. His name was William Case. And this was from a quote from his first staff meeting in 1981. It said, "We'll know that our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false." There you go. There you have it. So
that's a good close. We'll end it right there. That's perfect.
I know.
All right, my friend. Well, this is obviously a great time. We love being in here together. I love this topic. I get like fired up about it.
It's fun. It's a fun one.
I would love to like circle back and do it part 2 for sure on this one because we can really dig into certain specific things. This was kind of just more of like high level, you know, overview and kind of introducing people into this whole idea. And then we can go into it a little bit
that'd be great
later on.
So perfect.
Till next time.
Till next time.